Oh, we're live. Okay. What's going on, YouTube? It's Train Maxer. Taco Tuesday, back again. Got a Chillstream here. I seen Asmongold the other day. He took a political compass test, and I'm kind of curious to see what it says about me. I kind of don't think it's going to be all that accurate because even he was bitching about it being too left. But before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey and these aren't questions. They're probably to question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme, some are moderate. Okay, in your opinion. All right. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Okay, and where do you guys fit on the compass is my question. Anyway, your responses should not be overthought. Don't worry, they will be. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Well, you're going to get detailed opinions on policy. Sorry. Page 1 of 6. These are just a few propositions to start with concerning no less how you see the country and the world. If economic globalization is inevitable, all right, well, let me stop you right there. I don't agree that it is inevitable. I think the collapse is going to happen any day now, so I don't agree with that. It should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. If it's inevitable, I don't think it is, but if it is, I'm going to probably slightly agree, I guess. I don't know. I don't agree with the premise that it's inevitable, but okay. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Strongly disagree. Hell no. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Strongly disagree. Yeah, you got every right to be proud of where you're from. I don't see a problem with that. There's nothing wrong with being proud of where you're from. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree with that. That must be for the white Nats, the Yahtzees that are taking the test to agree with. I don't know. That sounds like left-wing bias right there. That sounds like the kind of question you'd ask Yahtzees to got them, you know. I don't know. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Sometimes. I'm going to slightly agree with that. Sometimes. I want to say it was in World War I. There was a phrase that doesn't really matter, you know, who's shooting at your enemy as long as they're shooting the same direction. So, yeah. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I'm gonna agree with that. I think maybe strongly agree. Should I strongly agree? I don't know. Who said international law? Who's in charge of that? And what the hell is this that's in my way here? Something is in my way. What the frick? Okay, we're gonna agree with that. I think I'm gonna moderately agree with that. There's an ad in my way. I would be using Brave, but I'm on a Chromebook and Brave won't let me. It won't let me download the PC version on a Chromebook. It wants a tablet version on here. So, and the tablet version, StreamYards will think I'm on a mobile device and won't let me share the screen. So that doesn't really work. There is a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Yeah, I can agree with that. Strongly? Yeah, okay. All right, next page. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. You can do it. Let's go. There we go. Page 2. Now the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTST, FTSE index. The fuck is this? What is this? I have no idea what this is. Bruh. Google search. What is this? No idea what this is. Come on, Google. Financial Times Stock Exchange 100. The London Stock Exchange. Okay. Okay, that's what it is. So apparently the UK, and as we know, you can't spell UK without, you can't spell cuck without UK, so maybe it explains the bias of the test. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. I don't know. I'm gonna slightly agree. I was leaning towards disagree, but I don't know. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I hang out with the kind of people that hang out with Donald Trump and golf all day. I don't hang out with those people. So that's a different class of people, I suppose. I mean, I'm not saying you can't move around from class to class. I certainly agree that you can, but controlling inflation. What are we doing? Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Strongly agree. Yes. If you can't control inflation, it doesn't matter about the unemployment. If you're printing $1 trillion bills, you got dollar bills and it's $1 trillion and it's not worth anything, like Zimbabwe. Yeah, that's not good. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Well, I'd say they've proven that, so I'm going to agree with that. I'd say the current corporate culture has kind of indicated that they care more about profits than anything else. I mean, look at these coal mines that they have all this toxic waste they've stored up and it ends up going in the river because they're not maintaining stuff properly. I don't know why you got to have all this toxic waste as a result of mining coal, but whatever. It is what it is. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Strongly disagree. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. Strongly disagree. That is right out of Karl Marx. Fuck that noise. The freer the market, freer the people. I'm going to agree with that, but not strongly agree. I think the best system is the free market in a Christian nation. I think that's the best system. Guided by Christian morals, I think that's probably the best system, but that's just my opinion. Because if you don't have Christian morals and the only moral is make more money, well, you're going to do anything to make more money, whether it's ethical or not. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I'm going to strongly disagree with that. Because most places, most restaurants, you go, water is freaking free. You know, most restaurants, you can demand free water, at least where I live. You can say, hey, I want ice water, and they can't charge you for it. So the thing is, when it's in a package and it comes out of a machine and it's branded, you're paying for the convenience more than the brand. You might even be paying for the taste, or might be carbonated or something. You're not paying like you go up to a free water fountain and, oh, you got to put 25 cents in to use it. No, that's not the way it is. Land shouldn't be a commodity to bought. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I strongly disagree with that. In fact, I think once you own land, you shouldn't be required land that you quote unquote own. They can just take it from you. Your land, that they can just take your land. I think that's wrong too. I apologize if you hear me sniffling a little bit. It's allergy season right now. Everybody's weed eating, and yeah, so I've been doing that, dealing with that stuff myself, weed eating and mowing, and do that. And been doing some spring cleaning around here. And it's been kind of a late winter. It's been raining as recently as yesterday. And anyway, I've been kind of distracted with some stuff going on, so that's why I haven't streamed until now. So I apologize for that. All right. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I'm going to disagree with that. The reason I don't strongly disagree with that, yeah, there are individuals who I can't mention because if I mention them by name, it's quote unquote anti-Semitism if I'm saying anything negative about said individuals. But yeah. Yeah, I think you should learn how to invest if you've got extra money. It's probably a good idea to study up on that. If you're not thinking the collapse is going to happen tomorrow, you might want to, figure out some stocks or some bonds to buy and try and grow your money. Might not be a bad idea. I mean, if you think the collapse is happening tomorrow, you should probably just buy bullets. But anyway. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Strongly agree. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. So you don't worry anything about pollution, like I was mentioning earlier about coal mines and copper mines and things like that. I'm going to disagree with that because pollution affects everybody. If you dump a bunch of arsenic into a freaking river and you poison the river, that's kind of a problem for everybody. And I don't know who else can regulate that other than the government. The rich are too highly taxed. I'm going to slightly disagree. I favor a flat tax. I think it should be the same for everybody. I think it should be, if it's income, tax it. I don't really care what the source of the income is, but that's just my opinion. See, I've always kind of gone back to like, let's see, what does God require in the Old Testament? It's a tithe. It's 10%, right? What does Jesus say about paying taxes, right? Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and render unto God that which is God's, right? And I don't think Caesar should charge more than God requires, which is 10%. I think that should be the most any sane government should charge. I don't think you should charge much less than 6% because you can't really run a government on much less than that. But anyway, having thought it out, that's what I would say is somewhere between 6 and 10% on all income. It's kind of how I look at it. But, I think that would simplify the tax code a lot. And if you can't balance the budget and the government can't run on, at most 10% of an income tax, I think the government's too big and has too much stuff going on, in my opinion. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I would agree with that. I think there should be a basic standard like that everybody has access to, but I think that if you have more money, you should be able to pay for better stuff. I'm going to say strongly agree with that. I think capitalism should be a factor in that. I think there should be a basic standard that's standard for everybody, and if you have more money, you should be able to pay for like experimental treatments and things like that. The government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Oh yeah, strongly agree with that. Absolutely. McDonald's is saying stuff like, "Oh, our Happy Meal is perfectly safe for everybody to eat. It doesn't make you fat. In fact, you lose weight eating our Happy Meal." Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, that should be definitely penalized for sure. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Strongly agree. That's something I agree with Teddy Roosevelt on. Absolutely. Bust the trust. Let's go. Next page. 3 of 6. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly agree. Strongly agree. 100%. I think it's murder if. What are we doing here? We got an ad popping up. Yes. Come on, let me click that. Strongly agree. I'm going to say, even in the case of grape, that's a situation. It used to be that the rapist was put to death, not the infant. And if the woman didn't want the infant, it would be put up for adoption. And it said by a woman who's a victim of grape should be treated no different than a virgin. So I'm just saying. All authority should be questioned. Yeah, I agree with that. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I'm going to slightly agree. Yeah, moderately agree with that. I mean, yes, Gandhi said an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world blind or whatever. So, but whatever. People got to know that you're not going to tolerate being fucked with at the same time. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Okay, as far as theaters go, yes, I agree with that. Why is it not selecting? Yes, theaters, I agree with that statement. Museums, though, on the other hand, I've never heard of a museum be profitable, so it's kind of more it's like a library, so there's a lot more theaters than museums and libraries and stuff, so I'm going to slightly agree with that. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I'm going to slightly disagree with that. I mean, yeah, you should have the option of homeschooling and stuff. That's a good thing. I know when I was in school, I've always had a problem getting up early in the morning to go somewhere I don't really want to go. And I had this one elective class, and it was cooking class, incidentally, which I'm pretty good at cooking, by the way. I get complimented on it all the time. Anytime I have the opportunity to demonstrate that skill. But anyway, the teacher did not like me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because she was pregnant and she was hormonal or something. But if I was not sitting in my seat when the fucking bell rang, that fucking see you next Tuesday would give me a fucking tardy. I would get a fucking Saturday school as a result of that shit. And you know what? If I skipped the whole fucking class and didn't show up, I got in less fucking trouble. Even though the school got full credit if I was there but tardy, they got full credit from the government if I was there but tardy. versus if I didn't show up at all, they didn't get no credit for it. So what the hell sense does that make? Fucking punish me for being not in my seat when the bell rings, but I don't show up at all and I don't get punished. And the punishment being fucking 3 hours of fucking Saturday school. Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So, yeah, I've got kind of a strong opinion on that. So, I've talked myself out of it. I'm gonna go with agree. Should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Yeah, agree slightly. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. I'm going to strongly disagree with that. Alexis de Tocqueville talked about this when he visited America in his book. He mentioned that back in the day, that if you had a community that was English speakers, and one of those guys went over to France and he was a merchant, and he got married to a French woman and he brought her back, that one French woman would assimilate into the culture and would, eventually would be speaking English, maybe with an accent, but she would be at least trying to speak English like everybody else. Whereas, you have a group of, he cited, you have a group of, say, Germans that all come over and they stay in a community. You end up with what we have today. You have the Amish. You have people like that, the Dutch. They come over here. They all stay together in a community. They all continue speaking their language. They don't interact much with the outside population. They're all just, in their community, and they don't really assimilate. And that's okay. I mean, I think that they're great people. That's all right. They're not causing problems, but what happens when you have people that are not Christian, like say that are Muslim, that come over and they come over and form a big community, and you have like no-goes and like the police don't go there, and I don't know. So yeah. Or you have now we got a whole bunch of military age Chinese males crossing the border. I don't know what movie tried to warn us about that. Red Dawn 1984 wasn't Chinese, it was Cubans in that movie, but I don't know. Kind of makes me wonder. Let's see here. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly agree with that. And see, I was inspired to take this test because I was watching Asmongold, and he does say some based things sometimes, but his result on his test, he was kind of libertarian leftard on his test. And he disagreed on this. He thought parents didn't have to ever spank their children if they're good parents, and he strongly disagreed. And that's where I started disagreeing with him. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I agree with that. That is normal. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. I don't even know why. I was reading an article in the paper today talking about DEA is going to now consider moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. And they said that it would be right there along with things like ketamine and Tylenol. And I'm like, hold up a minute. Ketamine is a date grape drug. Okay? That kid Desmond is amazing, who was on Netflix. Was it a kitty show? I don't know. I didn't watch it. But he was on TV for a while ago, a few months ago, and he was talking about, taking ketamine. Like, that's like a drug that you should be like, okay, wood chipper maxing time. You have ketamine and you're selling it to kids, wood chipper time. Yeah. Why are we moving marijuana from being worse than date grape drugs to being equivalent with date grape drugs? And then Tylenol was on that same schedule. I'm like, Tylenol, freaking over-the-counter painkiller. Over-the-counter painkiller. Nobody gets high on Tylenol. Nobody's addicted to Tylenol. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Why is Tylenol even regulated by the DEA? Why is it a Schedule 3? Yeah, if you take a Tylenol, it's equivalent to drinking about 5 beers or something. Yeah, I get that. But no one's addicted to Tylenol. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's the same status as ketamine, which is a date rape drug. It's a drug pedos give to their victims so that their victims are more inclined to get their booties clapped. So, yeah, why? I don't understand why those are in the same category. What the fuck is wrong with our government that a date rape drug and an over-the-counter pain medicine are equivalent? That doesn't make any sense. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. I would agree with that. And I would say that when I was schooled, I did not receive this. See, all 4 years that I was in taking my high school classes, I was offered small engine repair. All 4 years I signed up for that, wasting an elective class, incidentally. And all 4 years I was told by my stupid high school counselor that, oh, not enough students signed up for that, so we didn't hire a teacher to teach that. It's like I could have been in business for years as a small engine repair business if I'd fucking learned that shit for free. So I'm still having to pay to have stuff like that fixed. And instead, the fucking high school said, oh, even though you're a native English speaker, let's make you take English for 4 fucking years. And you know what? We don't care that you said you're not going to go to college at all. We're going to make you take college prep English just to piss you off because we have reasons, because, you know. And I had an F most of senior year in college prep English because I cut that class. I'd go hang out at the ag department. I'd go hang out at the ag barn with my animals that I was raising for the fair because I didn't care. I didn't care about doing fucking PowerPoints and all this nonsense. I'm not going to be some cube monkey in an office. Fuck that noise. What the hell do I need to learn that shit for? And I already speak English natively. Why do I need to learn English for 4 fucking years? Doesn't make any sense. But there are Mexican students in my graduating class in 2008, and they do not speak fucking English to this day. If I ran into them today, they still do not speak English. And they took 2 years of English as a second language. It does not make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't they speak? Why don't they take 4 years of English and me take like extra electives? Like, that would make sense. That would have made sense. I would have took extra weightlifting. I would have took extra shop class. Would have took auto mechanics. And if I could have took small engine repair, I would have took that. But otherwise, I would have took an extra ag class probably. But whatever. They didn't set up my free high school education to serve me. It just wasted my time. So, people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I'm going to slightly disagree with that. If there was in the middle, I would actually, you know what, I'm going to slightly disagree with that. Yeah. If there was in the middle, like if this was 0 and this was 100% agreeing with that, and this was 50, I would be selecting 50-50 on that. I'm sure there are disabilities that probably shouldn't be passed down, but again, who's to decide on that? Who gets to decide? I'm going to slightly disagree with that. Now, I remember I was reading a book that was from the 1960s, and it was talking about health, and it did mention that like feeble-minded people tend to be more fertile and therefore shouldn't be allowed to reproduce. And well, obviously there's a lot of feeble-minded people running around, and we did let the crazies out of the asylum, so kind of makes me think there's a correlation there. But yeah, who's to decide on that? That's the question. I think this right here was one of those questions designed to, if you're a white nationalist Yahtzee type, I think you would be strongly agreeing with that, probably, I guess, is what the lefties who wrote this survey, I think that's what they think. So the most important thing for children is to learn to accept discipline. Again, I would be right in the middle on that, I think. So I'm going to slightly disagree with that, I think. I don't know about that. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I strongly disagree with that. Absolutely. There's an island that it's owned by India, but it's not controlled by them. It's controlled by the cannibal tribe that lives on that island. To this day, there are still cannibals on islands, and nobody can go to that island because anybody that's tried gets eaten. Yeah. So yeah, those people are those are savages. I'm sorry. Those people are not civilized. Those people aren't building moon rockets. They're not going to the moon. They're not going to Mars. Those people are fucking savages looking for more long pig to eat. That's what they're looking for. So, yeah. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I agree with that. That's straight up biblical right there. I don't remember what the verse is, but it's in the Bible that if a man refuses to work that's able to work, he shouldn't be fed by that community. And they were very agricultural society. So they kind of needed everybody who was able-bodied and able to do physical labor. They needed everybody working that was able to work. So I agree with that. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I'm going to say I agree with that. I'm going to say I strongly agree with that. Generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. I strongly disagree with that. And the reason is because I am an immigrant. So, yeah, my grandmother was from Canada and she fully assimilated. She married an American and she fully assimilated. So, that's not true about that. Yeah, first generation immigrants can fully integrate, especially if they marry a native to that country. Yeah, they can fully assimilate. Absolutely. Now, again, like I mentioned about Alexis de Tocqueville earlier, he was talking about if you have one person from a foreign country comes over and intermarries, yeah, they're going to assimilate. But if you have a whole group of them, you end up with something like the Amish, where they don't assimilate. Yeah. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. I'm going to strongly disagree with that. What would be good for McDonald's would be for every mom and pop business, every mom and pop taco stand, every mom and pop local restaurant to just be shut down, and McDonald's to be the only, restaurant available. And that would not be good for anybody except McDonald's. So, yeah. I have to strongly disagree with that. Bruh, come on. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Strongly agree. Strongly agree. You know what? That's what the ad council is. That's what NPR is. NPR is sponsored by the freaking government. And they cannot turn a profit without the government's assistance. Hell, even most of these big media, big cable company channels that you see on cable TV, they don't survive if the ad council doesn't exist, because you see half their ads or more are from the ad council, which is the government. Especially local news. Local news, it's like 75% of the ads are freaking ad council ads. So yeah, I don't think the ad council should exist. I think that the companies, all the news, all these different institutions, I think that they would be better off if the government wasn't propping them up. They weren't beholden to the government, and they actually had to be good and like fight for ad dollars. I think that'd probably be better for everybody. Or they'd go out of business, which some of them need to go out of business. Come on, what are we doing? Page 4 of 6. See how you see the wider society. Okay. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Yeah, I strongly agree with that. Absolutely. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all of the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't, but it's true. If you live in somewhere like communist China and they decide they're gonna I don't know, build an island in the middle of the South China Sea, there's no argument there. They just do it. That doesn't mean it's a good thing that they do it, but it is what it is. You can't argue with that. That's not saying I agree with it, but it's true. Yeah, dictatorships always do things that democracies, they just kind of piddle around. They don't get done. Yeah. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. I strongly disagree with that. We live, again, in a democracy, so-called, that passes what, 8,000 new laws every year? They say you commit 3 felonies every day, whether you're trying to or not. And it's because we have like 15,000 page laws like Obamacare that we have aged politicians like Nancy Pelosi going, oh, we have to pass the bill in order to find out what's in the bill, because she has no idea what's in the bill. And who knows how many laws got passed in things like Obamacare. And Congress passes shit like that all the time. Just most of it's not as controversial as Obamacare. Yeah. So there's all sorts of laws. See, this is where I go with, if I had dictatorial power, which I will never have, most likely, if I had dictatorial power, I would not be passing 8,000 new laws every year. All the laws that would exist if I was dictator, everybody would be able to freaking understand them. And they would be enforced. Like, absolutely. So, the death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree. Absolutely. And I think we need to reduce the number of appeals that occur, because it gets dug out and it ends up being more expensive than just incarcerating them. And that's not right. That's not right. You should have maybe one appeal, and yeah, I think we drag our feet way too much when we got somebody dead to rights. Should be executed, and they're not executed because we gotta give them 30 fucking appeals or whatever. Society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. I disagree with that strongly, I would say. Anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Let's see. If one person thinks it's art, it's art. That's kind of how it works. If one person thinks it's art and is willing to pay for it, it's fucking art. That's the way it works. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly agree. I think rehabilitation should be available for some crimes, but punishment should be the main deterrent. It is a waste of time. They've already mentioned this earlier about the wood chipper and people that kids. Yeah, it is a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. Strongly agree. Yeah, if you're a Hollywood sexual, yeah, there's no rehabilitation. We're done with y'all. That's not. I don't think we can coexist. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. See, this is another one. If this was a 0 and this was a 100, I would be at like 50 on this. I'm gonna probably be slightly agree, I guess, because a business person makes stuff happen. Manufacturer actually makes stuff. I mean, a writer is a creative, and an artist. Well, I mean, say it's a starving artist. That's the thing. Um, I don't know. I'm confused on this question. It's great if you can turn your writing and your artistry into a business and into something you start manufacturing. That's great. But anyway, mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly agree. 100%. Almost all politicians promise economic growth, but we should heed the warnings of climate science that growth is detrimental to our efforts to curb global warming. Strongly disagree. That is, climate science is a religion. These climate scientists deny the whole carbon cycle. Everyone who's listening to me who's a living being is breathing out carbon dioxide. Right now, they're saying that's a fucking pollution. It's not. Fucking plants breathe it in and they exhale the oxygen that, shocker, we need. It's a carbon cycle. I can explain that. I'm several beers in. Fucking climate scientists can't explain that. They've studied this shit for fucking years. So it's a fucking religion, and I disagree with that religion. So there you go. I disagree with that. I'm not saying that there aren't pollutions that occur, but CO2 is not one of them. It's certainly not the most pressing one. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I'm going to disagree with that, I think. This establishment that we have is okay with fucking pedo bears messing around with kids. So, you know what? I strongly disagree. The leadership of this current government is okay with messing around with people like that. So, yeah. No, I disagree with that. The current establishment needs to go away. Come on, next page. Still 5 of 6, damn. Astrology accurately explains many things. Okay. If you got through that, okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Astrology explains many things. Strongly disagree. Yeah, astrology cannot be moral without being religious. I disagree. I slightly disagree with that. I think you can have some morals without being overly religious, and I think some people that are particularly religious, I think, are not very moral people. Some people that go to church every Sunday are lying about how moral they are. So, charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly agree with that. Absolutely. That is something that has been taken from the church and replaced with 5013C status. Some people are naturally unlucky. I strongly disagree with that. I don't really believe in luck. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I'm gonna probably slightly agree with that. I mean, I'm school my kids if I ever have kids, but yeah, I think we've kind of lost religion, and I think that's kind of why we're fucked to a large extent. Page 6 of 6. Finally, look at sex. Okay. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Strongly agree. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I'm going to slightly agree with that. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, again, I've already expressed how I feel about people that mess with kids. The way I'm thinking, the scenario in my head is imagine the choice is the kid is either going to be aborted or adopted by a gay couple. Well, I would choose for the child to get adopted by a gay couple over being aborted. That's just the scenario that pops into my head. I don't think that they should have too much influence on the child. I don't think they should be like pushing their lifestyle onto the child. They should let the child grow up and decide for themselves which way they're inclined to be. But yeah. So there's the fagtow that thinks that we're homophobic or some shit. Yeah, I'm not really homophobic. I'm not really afraid of them. I don't hate them. Just don't want them in my face with their shit. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. I think we've taken it too far, but I do slightly agree with that. I think we have taken it too far with only fools and all this stuff, but I do slightly agree with that. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I strongly agree with that. Again, as long as there's no children and there's no animals involved, I strongly agree with that. Yeah, I do. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I'm going to slightly disagree with that. I don't think it's very common, but I would imagine probably about 2% of the population are inclined to feel that way. I don't think it's the 25% of Gen Alpha that's been indoctrinated to think that they're homo or think that they're trans or whatever. I don't think it's that high, but I would say that maybe 2% probably are inclined to be that way. It is still a choice. You can choose to override and live a normal lifestyle. But yeah, I do think that there is a small percentage of the population that is inclined to want to be that way. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly agree. All right, let's see where I stand. Let's see if we're still streaming. Let's see where you stand. Come on, let's go. Where do I stand? Bruh, come on. Authoritarian left. I don't know about if I agree with that. See, this is why this test is flawed. This test is flawed. I'm to the right of Rush and to the left of God. That's what I would say. I'm to the right of Rush and to the left of God. This is not accurate at all. This is a test designed by liberals to, if they assume that everybody on the right is a Yahtzee. Well, not everybody on the right is a fucking Yahtzee, so. The more nationalistic and authoritarian a party or individual is, the more quote-unquote right-wing they're still labeled. This is, of course, absurd. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here's mine. Okay. So I'm right in the middle between authoritarian and libertarian. And I lean to the right. See, this is, I don't know. This is not very accurate. The only thing it's judging is social scale and economic scale. I don't know. I don't think there was enough detailed questions asked to properly gauge that, because I would probably be more over here, like about right here. I don't know. I don't think this test is very accurate. Yeah, we're not going to claim nothing. So, all right, we're going to stop sharing this page. I guess we're still streaming. Are we still streaming? We're still streaming, right? Yeah, we're still streaming. Ah, Zombie Bomb's here. Hello. AMC is going to hit the moon next month. Okay. Not sure what that means, but hello. All right, we're going to close that out. All right, what's the next one I was going to show here? Now, this is a video. I think Chronic and Hammerhand have both covered this chick before. I'm not sure if this is a new video she put out. I saw this about a month ago, and I haven't. I've been wanting to respond to it, but I haven't. But it needs to be addressed. This chick thinks MGTOW and Black Pill is the same thing, and that we're a movement. So let's respond to this. This is from the Modern King.
This one's for the men who hate women. The Black Pill movement, or MGTOW, is a group of men who have left the dating market. They have deleted all dating apps. They are no longer asking women on dates, and
they show Andrew Tate, of course.
Recordings just got better.
Bye, Dana.
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited
Bye,
to announce
Dana.
that local recordings are now available on StreamYard.
Bye, Dana.
and they have no intention of ever getting.
Yeah, example of MGTOW, huh? Right here. This is your example of MGTOW, Mr. Andrew Tate. Yeah, uh-huh. You have no idea what MGTOW is, lady. 13 seconds in, this chick has no idea.
I don't think many men actually benefit from marriages or relationships anymore.
In fact, they strongly discourage any romantic feelings towards the opposite sex at all.
Women see men going their own.
Being married.
So I don't think many men actually benefit from marriages or relationships anymore.
In fact, they strongly discourage any romantic feelings
Oh boy, we're having
towards
technical
the
difficulties.
opposite sex at all.
Women see men going their
Come on.
own way.
Come on. Oh, we're having some technical difficulties.
And are trying to stop it.
I'm working.
Come on. I don't know what's going on. My internet service is not what it should be right now. It's too bad StreamYard won't let me share from my phone. I got great service on my phone. Come on. What are we doing? Oh, joy. Page is unresponsive. Isn't that wonderful? Well, you know what? It's a beautiful sunny day. That might be a sign that I just need to restart this thing. Go take my dog for a walk.
This one's for the men who hate women. Black pill movement.
Try this again later. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to restart. I'm going to restart this and come back later.
Or MGTOW is a group of men who've left the dating
You-
market. They
Stop it.
have deleted all dating apps. They are no longer asking women on
Come
dates.
on.
And they have
Come on. I think I'm going to restart my machine. It's like this when I try to watch Rumble. Yeah, it's like that for me too. All right, Zombie Bomb. All right, YouTube. I think I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to do another one after I restart my machine in a little while. I'm going to go walk my dog and I'll be back. Peace out.